All right, everybody. This is Michelle Collier, Sports Inquirer. We're joined once again by Georgia Tech volleyball head coach Michelle Collier. Michelle, thank you for joining us. Team split this past weekend on the road. Just overall impressions of those two matches before we get into some of the individual aspects of them.
Yeah, no, I think, road matches are always challenging. I felt like we were, uh, just very pleased on how we came out on Friday. We were able to get out of there in 3 sets and have a good match against Notre Dame, and then just kind of get ready to compete against, one of the best teams in the country in Louisville. Um, and felt like we competed well. I mean, I think that they played a great match, put a lot of pressure on our attackers. So it's definitely something that we're trying to continue to get better. How do we get to that next level? And so there's a lot to learn from them and the way that they compete and execute things. And so it was a great opportunity to compete. I think that we started well, probably didn't finish as well as we could have. But also, props to Louisville, who had a great team on the other side and really, were very challenging to compete against.
Yeah, excuse me for cutting you off there. We'll go to the Louisville match first and then go track back to Notre Dame. You held leads in all four of the sets at some point. Is that just something you won the first set and then dropped the last three? Is that just something? What do you take away from that statistic? And it seemed like it was very competitive, all the sets at certain points, but you just weren't unable to get to those 25 points and take a second. Would that have just made a big difference, you think, if you just got even a third set or a fourth set that could have really just helped that momentum for you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we had our opportunities to, make the score look a little different, but we didn't capitalize on them the way we needed to. And so against teams like that, there's not too many do-overs. So you got to be a little more crisp in executing when you do get those chances. And that is something that we just didn't do. We had our chances. We gave ourselves probably good situations to take bigger leads or sustain a lead. Um, I think we started off with some good leads in some of the sets, and we just couldn't sustain, and some other opportunities with easier balls on our side that we can convert into points. So that's just the what it takes to win these matches. You got to really maximize your opportunities for points, and I think that we did a great job creating them, but we need to execute them better.
And you mentioned they attacked your outsides, Breland, your middle, almost end up with the most kills. Is that something you just saw from Louisville? They were attacking your outsides and not allowing them to get in the flow offensively as they normally would?
Yeah, I mean they had big. I mean they blocked great against us, and yeah, we were just we were having a hard time. I think putting balls away from that side of the court. I think Julie and Bianca had a great night offensively. Um, but it's all part of it. We understand that they're going to have those kind of uh, defense against them, especially Julia. So it's just helping her continue to get better, helping our team continue to get better, so that somebody else can carry the load when they're putting all their defenders against one player. That are other players that are going to be more open. And those players need to start executing in those situations as well. So that way, it's not as easy to key in on one player or the other. So that's all part of our growth, I think, as a team. Our offense needs to continue to develop. I think that we played good defense against them at moments, and we blocked and dug and served at a good level. Um, but we need to be scoring more points offensively, and obviously you need to continue to put pressure on them defensively, at that level. So we do need to be more balanced, and not be as one dimensional. And that's definitely something that it was great to see that Bree stepped up. I think she had a great match. She was pretty solid, and obviously by them keying on our outsides, it opens up opportunities at other places. And I thought Bree did a good job. I thought Tim did a good job as well. She had some good numbers. But we just made mistakes at points in a game where it's hard to recover from those against a great team. So, props to Louisville, who made us have to make those mistakes, but we got to do better when we do have the ball on our side, and we can capitalize on points.
Yeah, and it was on ESPN on a big time slot in a Sunday afternoon. What was the reception like for you? Did you hear from a lot of people about that? We spent a last interview on that about the women's sports being on prime TV opportunities. But after the match, did you notice that has it helped in recruiting or just getting it more attention to the program? Because what are your reflections on being on ESPN for that big
Yeah,
top
no,
10
I think
matchup?
the exposure was great. I think just for the sport in general, obviously my friends are all very proud to see us out there. And I was able to, our recruits were able to watch. It was more accessible. I even had people overseas um, watching it, so it was nice. It's nice to have that kind of exposure. Um, to allow the sport to continue to grow, to allow coaches and players to continue to grow, and just kind of showcase, the great things we're doing kind of behind the scenes. These are great representatives of college athletics and what it's like to be great student athletes and value your education and play at a very high level. So I think that those are strong role models for young women. And the fact that we are able to expose them more to that, I think that is really important.
Yeah, and then what about representing the South volleyball? Because if so much of it, volleyball has been focused on the Midwest and the West Coast, but
Mhm.
you had two top 10 teams from the ACC, and just what about having that exposure? Because it seems like the attention, and then it was even during the broadcast. I don't know if you watched it, but obviously teams like Texas, number one team in the country, so much attention is put on those programs, but have two ACC programs highlighted like that. How big is that for just volleyball in this part of the country?
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think that this is an area that it's growing a lot, that there's a lot of really great players, and I think more and more we're, working hard to keep them close, and keep them in this area and continue to better the Southeast, and just really make it strong. And I think for our conference as well, I mean, I think the ACC, with 3 teams in the top 10, currently, is just it's a conference that's been growing, that it's been doing some great things at a national stage, and it's great that we're having the opportunity to continue to expose that.
Yeah, and hopefully we're going to catch up with Paola this week before your matchups against Virginia and Pittsburgh. But what about her performance this year and shoring up the defensive end of the court for you?
Yeah, no, I think that she's a player that still has tons to grow and learn and continue to get better. Um, but I think she's pretty comfortable in her position. She does a really good job at the little things when it comes to just easy balls at a system setting. There's a lot of things that a lot of times to the naked eye might go unnoticed. If you don't really understand how these things need to be executed at our level, that she just does a really good job at that. Um, so we got to continue to help her grow and develop. I think that serve receive, she's getting better and better. Um, and defensively, her range is getting better. I think that she's developing a little bit more of a personality on the court that needs to be there in her position. A little more comfortable with just kind of the leadership and the role that she has to play there. So I'm proud of her growth. I think that there's still a lot that she can continue to get better, but she's been pretty solid for us.
Yeah, and this weekend you have the matches. This coincides with the football homecoming game. You're calling us alumni weekend. How important is that aspect to your program? We talk so much about the current players and recruiting, obviously bringing new players to the program. What about the alumni and keeping them involved in the program, whether it's financially, maybe supporting some of the current players, recruiting? I don't know how that would work. Well, how important is it to get the alumni involved in the program, especially on a weekend like this?
Yeah, no, we love having him back here. I think that it's always a big added source of inspiration for our players because we always talk about, what kind of team you want to see when you come back when you're alumni. Um, on your alumni weekend and you're watching this program, let's make sure we're that team for the people that are coming back here. We're making them proud by the way that we're competing and how we're representing something that means a lot to them. We know how special this time is and the experience that they went through. and we want to make sure that we're continuing to show them that we're proud of what they've done, and very grateful uh, for what they've done to our program, and we're working hard to make them proud, and it's been pretty cool. I mean, they got great energy. They love it. It's always fun to hear the stories about back in the day. This is what we used to have, or this is what we used to do. And so they're great resources for our players, as far as even just, hey, this is what you got, life after volleyball or after Georgia Tech. Here are some of the things that this place has given to me that I'm sure it's going to give it to you as well. And, um, there are some alumni that might be working in areas that our players are working. So even like that career professional development, um, it's always fun to have that network. But in general, we just want to provide a welcoming atmosphere for them, to be able to come back and to still feel a part of the program. And we're so grateful for every alumni, how much dedication they put into this. That uh, hopefully when they're coming back, they're leaving here, one, proud of what we're doing, um, and really just it's just fun to come back and be at the old stomping grounds and reconnect with some of your old friends. And this is a great opportunity. So it's always a fun time to have them back on campus.
Yeah, and you've been there long enough now. I'm sure if some of them are parents and married, what is that like for you? You coach them, and then they may bring their partners or whatever is going on. And what's that like for you personally? Because
Yeah,
you've been
no,
there
I
a
think
lot of
it's great.
years.
Yeah, it's awesome to just kind of see their growth and what they're doing uh, with life after Georgia Tech. And it's pretty cool to see, one, how much they look back into this time and they miss it. I think that coaches always get kind of a delayed gratification from from our profession when 5-10 years down the road, um, our former players are looking at it and they're saying, man, I just missed it, like I was having the best time, and a lot of times I didn't even know I was having the best time. So it's cool to see that. It's cool to get that feedback and to kind of um, just understand how much and how impactful I think what we're doing now is to their life moving on. And that is way bigger than just volleyball. And we have a big understanding of that in our staff, and we really try to take care of our players as people as well, and make sure they're developing, growing to be mothers, and to be CEOs, and to own their own business or whatever it is that they're going to do next. That what they're learning here is going to be a positive impact in what they do next. So it's a unique opportunity. Makes me feel old every time they come back and they're doing some great things, but it's really cool to see all the awesome things that they're doing out there.
Don't feel bad about age. I get called sir so much from some of your players. And it's like I'm not that old, but no, they call us sir or gentleman, and I was like, oh my goodness. But no, but now back to the court. Now you have, as you're playing Virginia, team in the bottom half of the standings in the ACC, and then after that you get Pitt, a team that is above you in the rankings, and we're competing for them for a top spot in the ACC. How do you? I know you focus on your first match with Virginia, but how do you look at Pitt as well? Because we want to hear about that matchup. It's going to be on TV as well. But just how the team preparing for this weekend with these two contests?
Yeah, I think Virginia is a team that ever since last year with their new staff, I mean, they're growing every match that they're playing. They're really getting better and better, um, more and more competitive. I think that they have some good pieces in place there right now that came in from just some transfers and some new players that are really I think making them play at a very high level. So I think that they'll be a very competitive team when they come out here. Um, I think ready to maximize their opportunity, and so we're gonna have to be ready for that one first. Obviously, Pitt's always a big match, but you know me, so we're controlling a little bit of that. It's cool that we're getting to play them in McCamish.
First
Uh,
time, yeah, that's big for you.
yeah, the first time out there, we're excited about that. We're excited about that opportunity. Um, but we're really, focusing on Virginia. We're watching some video on them today, and then we're getting ready for Friday. Um, and then, against Pitt is always a battle. I think that it's a match that they're super competitive. They were one of the best teams in the country, so it's always a fun opportunity for us to get them here at home. We don't get to play, over the past couple of years. We've gone that a lot more. than they have come here. So it'll be cool to get them here at home and be able to have a top 10 matchup with them at McCamish, which is a pretty unique scenario. And but before that, we got to make sure we're at our best on Friday, that we're better than we were last week, so that we can continue to kind of move in the direction that we want.
Well, Coach, thank you for your time. We greatly appreciate it, and have a good weekend against the Cavaliers and the Panthers.
Thank you.